Outstanding.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming in, man.
Tyler, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you are the commander of the American Legion Post 274 here in Arcata.
Arcata Post 274, that is correct.
Yeah. And how long you been doing that?
So I'm in my third year now.
Yeah. Is it going good? You seen improvements?
Oh, absolutely. Ups and downs.
Yeah.
Just like any organization.
Yeah.
Trying to promote veterans in the community that doesn't fully 100% support veterans.
Just trying to find members and trying to get more heads in there.
No, not just trying to find members, trying to find veterans and let them know what the American Legion has done for veterans and what we can continue to do for veterans.
Mm-hmm. And what is that?
Oh,
I know there's a whole barrel of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a wide range of everything that you help for. I know you help me in a lot of different ways, especially with outreach and networking and connecting and making sure that everyone's good to go. But
outreach is absolutely one of the
biggest
getting out there. The 4 pillars the American Legion has. But what really comes down to is just letting the veteran know. Like, there's always the cell. In the bigger cities, you go to American Legion or VFW, and we can help you fix your disability. We can get you your benefits. No, that's what we have a department, the service officer that does that. But what we're really trying to do is let the veteran know, hey, this is an organization created by veterans, founded by veterans, to make sure veterans have their rights. Mm-hmm. We are the only successful organization to march on D.C. to get the demands what the veterans asked for. It was simple as a house. So the American Legion's there. It's our tool, our seat in Congress and our voice in Congress to make sure our veterans of today's time and the time before us and our future veterans are taken care of.
Yeah.
So it's not a pocket answer for a pocket question.
Yeah, yeah. It's a huge community that has a mission.
Yes.
And up here you see quite a bit of resistance from the city.
Cities,
so
people.
It sounds like that.
Different, we have Humboldt County is a very interesting place.
Yeah, diverse.
Very diverse.
Yeah.
But in the military, we're very diverse. So we know diversity. But there's more nonprofits in Humboldt County than I think anywhere else in the state of California. Mm-hmm. So we're a nonprofit fighting a bunch of other nonprofits.
Yeah. Hey, try and put that mic like directly in between you and me so it catches.
Yeah, that's what the feedback. There we go.
Now you sound better.
So that's the challenge, right? So our niche is we're fighting for veterans in the community, but it's also community support as well, taking care of the community by taking care of our veterans. So we're asking for support in many different levels as we're still trying to support our community, but there's a lot of other nonprofits that are 10 stages ahead of us,
right.
Doing the same thing we're doing, except the veteran term.
Mm-hmm. So it's just it's very niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't put it, it's not a simple answer to what we have in Humboldt County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's talk about the efforts that you've done in the last 3 years to really turn everything around. Because I know you said when you first started there, it was a whole different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the efforts of me turning around. It's a team. It's not just me. It's a group of veterans coming in and non-veterans coming in. I'm the face, but I'm going to die one day. Mm-hmm. So it's not me. The face is the American Legion. So it's really rebranding the organization in our county in our city to let the veterans know that that's there. But when we came in, the building, it was done. The organizations were done.
What year was the building made?
The building was built in 1930.
Okay.
So the organization was created in 1919, and then Arcata got their charter in 1923. So that means they were around 1920, and it takes 3 years to get your charter official. So we've been in the county since 1920. We're coming up on 99 years of being here, hitting our 100-year mark. Next year. We won't celebrate it until 2023 because our charter was 1923.
Right.
So we get the whole 100 years. Our building was built in 1930. It was donated. The property was donated. $30,000 was raised by the community in 1929. Doors opened in November 11th, 1930, and we've been there since that point.
Mm-hmm. And it was just over the years, by the time you got there, it just neglect.
Yeah, a lot of neglect. It was the way I put it when I got there. It was like I had 30 grandparents that all passed away, and now I had to go through their things. It had the smell. It had the storage. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, every closet was just full. There was filing cabinets in closets, and oh man. And with the help of HSU, the interns of the historical department and the curation department, we've gone through those records, and now we're building a database. It's all about preserving, but then also allow the community to come in and see what has been done before them. Humboldt County, during the Great War and World War II, 70% of the population were veterans. A lot of people don't realize that. The rural communities what supplied our war efforts. So we had amazing humans, men, like Edward Cassius Smith. He was a World War II veteran in the United States Navy on Wake Island. And then when we pulled our fleet away from Wake Island, Japan took it over. He became a prisoner of war for 4 years in Japan. He spent 4 years in a concentration camp in Japan. The community doesn't know that. They don't realize that. Eldon Charles Justice just came home after 69 years. He was pronounced MIA in December of 1950, and then in 1953 they gave him the KIA status. They found his remains in 2003. They didn't identify him until last year. A lot of individuals, a lot of hometown heroes have come from Arcata, Humboldt County, and we forgot, and we've kind of pushed the veterans aside. So it's trying to bring that to life. Let the community know and let them come into the Arcata Hall and see the museum that's going on and all the pictures and everything else we can grow from that, so they can see the past. We got to learn from our past.
Yeah, and then there's a dance hall that you can also rent out.
Yeah, our great hall.
Public.
Yeah, we do swing dancing every fourth Friday that we put on, but then the hall's also for rent. Humboldt Folk Life Society rents it out quarterly for their barn dances. Good community support comes out for that, and they have a great time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a hoedown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just got done renovating the bar?
The canteen. Yeah, we have a canteen. It's not done. And so, like I said, the building was built in 1930. Prohibition was 1920 to 1933.
Yeah.
And a lot of the community members that I've been interacting with, they've come through as I've opened up our building, because our building's, it's been closed down for the most part. Some rentals going on here and there. But the involvement of the veterans in the community is dwindled down to a low level. And so we weren't doing any functions on our own behalf of the American Legion or the VFW in our hall for quite some time. And when we did, we didn't invite them to our canteen. So the community didn't realize we had our own little private speakeasy bar in there, which we called the basement. And the building, like I said, 1930, so that's 3 years left of the prohibition. So for 3 years, the veterans had their own little speakeasy that no one knew about. Everybody thought it was a closet. Yeah. So we remodeled that. We opened it up. It's a total length of 99 feet by 25 at its width, and 20 at its widest point, and 20 at its lowest point.
And I know you guys had some concerts down there, right? Some live bands play down there?
We've had quite a few live bands play down there. Then we've also, concert-wise, we had DRI come up and play for the first time in Humboldt County last year. They came up and played in the Great Hall.
I don't know who that is.
Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
No.
Punk rock band
Okay.
from the 80s,
Okay.
maybe older. First time in the turnout for that. Wow. Like we hit capacity.
Nice.
Like I thought they were going to collapse the building. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. But that wasn't, it wasn't a pro seat for us. That's someone rented the building out, got a heck of a deal, and had a good time.
And so now that's just kind of the goal now, just to keep everything up and running, is being able to rent out the Great Hall and then the basement as well.
Well, the Great Hall or the Chow Hall or one of the meeting rooms, just to try to create some revenue. It costs us about $3,000 a month just to keep the lights on. We have weekly functions, Sam's Aerobics there every Wednesday. They have a Buddhist meditation on Thursdays. So these are renters that come in rent the
Right.
building. Like I said, Humboldt Folk Life Society rents out quarterly for their barn dance.
So you have regular customers that
A few,
help.
yeah, yeah. We
Mm.
have a few regular,
Well, that's
absolutely.
cool. Yeah. And so just trying to expand on that
Trying to expand that. So
because it's hard to just like, hey, we're trying to help out veterans, right? Say you're a new veteran, you just pop in Arcata, they meet Jeff, and you're like, hey, come on down, we help veterans. But then when you get there, like, hey, we need you to spend money to help us out. It's like, well, then how are you helping the veteran? That's their initial. I know
yeah,
that was my initial thing. Like, oh, okay, I'm going there. It's like, but now I got to go to Sunday brunch. I'm paying money for food. Well, I'm fine with doing that, but that's just me paying for food now.
yeah. So we try to have involvement, and that's why like when we do brunches, I bring it at a lower price. We
Yeah.
do. It's all
Yeah, members
volunteers
get.
coming in.
Yeah.
And it's trying to raise money. And so what I've been doing is opening it up to the community because, yeah, that's exactly it. The veterans have been paying for themselves
Mm-hmm.
to support themselves, and it's phenomenal that we are doing that. We're still continuing to that service,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we do. But we're missing the niche. The community. We should be asking the community for help. We should go out and fundraise in the community and try to get their involvement so we can grow helping our veterans. Because if it's veterans that's helping veterans, which that's what we do,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to go far.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, do you see any pushback from the community in when you try and do these outreach programs? Like, I know you guys have stands at, like the Oyster Fest. Did you have a stand at Oyster
Yeah.
Fest?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah,
Yeah, we go out
I
there.
remember that.
No, I don't see any pushback from the community when we do that.
Okay.
The hardest part is get
Nobody's like throwing eggs at your car and shit.
no. The hardest part is get veterans to come and help us.
Mm.
I can get more community members support on that. A lot of supporters of veterans that rate the American Legion Auxiliary or the Sons of the American Legion. But when it comes down to veterans coming out for that portion, it's a lot harder to do. They don't want to. The best way I can put this, I've been told by a few Vietnam veterans that have come back up to Humboldt County after the conflict in Vietnam ended, and they didn't want to tell anybody they were a veteran. They just wanted to go to work. It was a backlash to be called a veteran.
Right.
Someone's going to call you a baby killer or they're going to spit on you. So I have a hard time seeing the veterans come out to support the veterans organization because they don't want anybody to know that they're a veteran. And that's the challenge.
Mm.
They shouldn't be afraid of it.
Right. Yeah, there is. I mean, because some people do have a bad experience with the military. So then when they get out, then like they don't want to show it off.
Yes.
So it's very tricky.
Yeah, it is. But with veterans, we have to realize that we are the most diverse culture out there. We are a culture. We're not a group. We're not an organization. The American Legion is an organization, but when it comes to the veteran itself, himself or herself or themselves, we are a culture. We break the stereotypes before anybody else breaks the stereotypes. And we're not recognized as that culture. Even take the university system. We're a club. They treat us as a club. Well, we're not a club. We're a culture. We're the most diverse culture out there. But we just don't push it on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us may.
Yeah, I mean, there is that stereotype. As soon as someone says military, people just go down that road and they just pinpoint like, oh, this idea or this image that they see, and whether it's positive or negative, it's just one thing. People don't realize like every nationality is in the armed forces. Like every single language speaking
Nationality,
person that's an American.
religion, country. There's absolutely.
And then it's also a viable option to even get your green card is you join the United States military and you become a citizen in that way too.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
People don't think that's an option either.
No, they don't. My understanding, a lot of the younger generation more believes that a lot of veterans just go to the military for college, get their college paid, and that's another misconception. It's not free college. I know they took $100 out of my paycheck for a year and then offered me a kicker for $600 after that. I'm sure it was the same for you. And then all they did is they invest that money. It's not my money I'm getting back. I'm getting the previous generations kickback before me. So we don't get free college.
Right.
We pay for that.
Yeah, you work.
Yeah. And the biggest thing, no, it comes out of our paycheck. $100 for the first year.
Yeah.
Towards the GI Bill, which which the American Legion created. The Forever GI Bill now. We've been working on that since the 60s, but the American Legion established that. So for those veterans now getting out of the military, their GI Bill is not going to expire after 10 years. So it's improvements, and this is what we do as a veteran community and through the American Legion as veterans. We try to make sure our future veterans are taken care of, so they don't have to go through the same problems that we've went through or the generation before us. So
is it statewide? Are we seeing are we seeing the whole enterprise shrink
nationally,
nationally? Everything's just getting
it's,
soaked
yes.
up. And that's probably because during the Vietnam, like you said, 70%. Now it's, what is it, 2% of U.S.
less
citizens?
1%.
Yeah, less
than
than
1%. Yeah.
So even though that is probably like a couple million people, in
Still
comparison,
low.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's spread out.
Yes.
Yeah. All over the world, really.
And so part of the research I'm doing right now, working with all the documentation I have at the at the hall, is to try to pinpoint that. And I do think the Vietnam era, I think it was the 60s and 70s, where we saw the division happen across the board. And I feel like that's why we're in the mess we're in now. Like, I don't want to go off topic too much, but, look at the streets. Walk down, see how many people are living in front of a business shop, or how much trash you see on the road. Before 1960, that wasn't a thing.
Right.
Yeah. We had problems, but
yeah,
trash was not.
Bodies were capable.
Yeah.
I saw a picture the other day of it was like one of the Southern California beaches, and it was just, hundreds of people on the beach, and not one of them was obese. There might have been a bigger guy, like a heavyweight guy, but not like obese like we see today. And now it's insane.
When did the fast food industry come around?
Yeah, about that time. Right?
About that time. Yeah.
That's true.
So there's many key factors that pinpoint to one is going to be a challenge, but just acknowledge. If we acknowledge around that time, the shift happened. Kennedy was assassinated. Everybody always goes back to that. It's a pivotal times in our country to where we're at right now, and how to move forward.
Right.
So I think, my opinion, we're an all-volunteer military, right? That 1% of the population that's military, we volunteered. We weren't drafted. We weren't asked to go. We volunteered to go. So now that we're out, why aren't we continuing our volunteer service? Why are we not trying to make our communities better? That's what the American Legion is supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do through the American Legion as veterans, because it's our set of guidelines. There's a list of things that we can follow and some things that we have to do, but there are guidelines. We can do as we will, and it should be that as this all volunteer organization, as an all volunteer veterans, we should be continuing to go forward.
Yeah, just like military leaders in the Senate or in Congress, or even Dan Crenshaw.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a veteran. Now he's trying to run for presidency. That should be the same at every level of government.
Yes, we should. Yeah,
you should be the mayor. What the fuck?
No, I don't know. The mayor of Arcata, they have some interesting things. It's a part-time thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not like the city mayor of Chicago or anything.
No, and that's some of the politics they have to figure out. Yeah.
So the size of, I'm curious, what do you think the size of the American Legion here should be, given our population and how many veterans that you know? Like, what do you think we should have, like 200?
So in 1930, I found this award in 1930. The height of the year the building was built, our membership was 1,930 veterans
that tried to squeeze into that place.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and that's just Arcata, because in 1930,
still Fortuna and Eureka.
There was 12 American Legion posts in Humboldt County. And in 1930, the Mad River VFW post was not in our building. They had their own post. So 1,930 military members, we should total combined membership, including the American Legion Auxiliary and the Sons of the American Legion, we should have 1,930 members. Yeah, with a good percentage of veterans, about 1,000,
Yeah.
900, 1,000. I believe we have about that.
Dang.
I mean, you got to incorporate this into that. McKinleyville is now my jurisdiction. Trinidad, Oric, Blue Lake. That's
Like the huge surrounding area.
huge. So, there shouldn't be a problem why 1,000 veterans shouldn't be members of the American Legion of Arcata. And that would give us a significant number to fight
Yeah.
for benefits in
Yeah.
Humboldt County.
I mean, even like the bare minimum, which I admit I do the bare minimum for the Legion, is I just pay my yearly fee,
Just
and I'll
membership.
I'll try to attend whatever events that I can, and that's bare minimum. That's what we need, which it doesn't take anything.
No, $45 a year. Just be a number.
Yeah.
To allow us to fight California in the sense that we have veterans up here, that we do exist. So when I first started, there was 42 members. This is 2016, 15, 2016. Man, these years.
We had beards turning gray right now.
It is. It is. That sucks. This is not going on top of my scalp. It's just in the beard. That's fine.
And out the nose and out the ears.
No, I shaved that. The 1942. We had 42 members in 2015, 2016. Yeah, and now we're at 147 members.
Wow.
Yeah, so we grew. Our participation has grown. There was maybe 4 people that showed up to the meeting. We get anywhere from 20 to 30. Our lowest is probably about 12. So that's good, right? Not everybody's supporting or doing all the programs, but they're coming to the meetings. Yeah. So they know the information's going out. Everything I'm going out and finding, I'm giving back to them. So they're at least getting the information now. So that has helped us significantly. It's grown. That there's someone fighting for veterans, because if you talk to most veterans, they'll tell you to stay out of Arcata.
Right.
Or they won't come to Arcata.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They stick down there in Fortuna
or Eureka or McKinleyville.
Yeah, it's just a different. They
don't feel welcomed.
Right.
Yeah. So I've got a World War II veteran, a Marine Corps veteran. He fought on the Battle of Guadalcanal, and he hates Arcata. Absolutely despises it. And I brought some functions. I did the Warriors Lunch on the Wednesdays, and I did the Marine Corps Ball, and a couple other things that he had a great time with. And it was actually last year's Marine Corps Ball when he finally came. The year before, he was stubborn and didn't want to do it because the other guys told him, like, oh no, these young guys, you don't want to blow. Long story short, he came to the Marine Corps Ball. At the end of that Marine Corps Ball, he says, Jeff, when I die, I want my memorial service here. He goes, I hate this city, and I love this building, and I want to piss them off, and I want my memorial service here because this is beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you for this. And I was like, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like absolutely. We'll throw you a bang party. Yeah. World War II, Marine Corps veteran. Like, how could I not do him good?
Right.
That he hated the place, despised Arcata, and refused to come. And then he came a few times. And then he came for the Marine Corps Ball, and that was it. That's all it took. Mm-hmm. And that's all it does take, right? Some time. We just got to sit down and what we're doing here, get to know each other, have a conversation.
But why do you think that they have that feeling that Arcata doesn't welcome them?
Look at its history. Arcata's history is proven that they haven't supported the military. I mean,
But currently, what do you think?
Ups and down, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's I can't give a percentage on who does, but there's not full support. It's not 100% support, and so I don't want to upset anybody that does support us by them thinking that I'm not acknowledging that we do get support, because we do get support. Mm-hmm. But there is a good percentage. Let's take this for example, and if she ever hears it, she'll know it's her, right?
Okay.
The Coast Guard had to shut down, and so the American Legion raised over $1 million. And the community, was also part of this. They raised, I can't give the number of how much money was raised to help support the Coast Guard.
The one in McKinleyville Coast Guard?
The United States Coast Guard stopped getting paid in January. Yeah, there was a whole.
I didn't know about that.
Where you been?
Fighting in a cage.
Oh, okay. Getting your ass kicked in a cage. Yeah. So there was part of it's like a 3-month process where they weren't getting paid. So the communities came together. The community came together here, and nationally they came together. I had a lady come in to donate to the Coast Guard, and she wrote a pretty significant size check towards the Coast Guard. And I said, "Well, ma'am, thank you. I appreciate you coming in and do that. If you ever want to continue to support veterans." And she looked at me and she goes, "These men and women of the Coast Guard, of the United States Coast Guard, save lives." I said, "Absolutely they do." She said, "Unlike what you guys do in the Marine Corps, they save lives." Thank you for your donation. I appreciate you coming in and helping out our Coast Guard.
It's just like a lack of understanding, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's just people just don't really grasp it. They just think that just because you send bullets downrange that you're not helping anybody.
Yeah, we don't do any humanitarian efforts at all.
Right.
And we do, and it sucks, and it's sad because it's just someone doesn't want to take the time to learn or educate themselves, and they're just quick to assume. And that's what I think we're coming across nationwide is people are so quick to assume and don't want to take the time to get to know someone or ask the questions. One of the veterans I respect dearly is he stated, "It's always going to be a no until you ask the question." That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. There's always going to be a no. It's always going to be a negativity response until you actually stop and take the time and ask the question. You'll find out different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy how quickly so many people judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what happened with that whole Coast Guard thing then?
They
Did they get
reopened
furloughed and
Yeah,
shit?
they all got taken care of.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we took them in the time of need, but now the American Legion has to rebuild their funds nationally, and so then they're coming out to the veterans. Our members, our blue
Right.
cappers, and we're picking up that off cost.
Yeah.
The offset.
What's a blue capper?
You are
Okay.
blue cappers.
I thought it was black.
No, it's blue. That's navy blue with yellow brim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then next to that would be county, which is a blue cap with a white brim, and then it would be district with a blue bottom, white top,
Oh,
yellow
okay.
brim, and then there's state, which is all white, and then national is red.
Right. And then, so you're going down, and aren't you representing like a large portion now?
Yeah, so I'm not only am I the post commander, I'm the county commander, and the first vice of the district, and then the candidate for the Department of Sergeant Arms for the state of California for 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the youngest since like the 40s. Now, mind you, this organization was created by 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds
Right.
in 1919.
Yeah.
But, the Vietnam War, again, 1960s, those World War II veterans, and they treated them the same way the civilian population treated them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real war. They didn't let them have ownership. Now they got ownership, and now they're treating us the same way they were treated.
Right.
So,
And so, do you get a salary? Does anybody at any level get a salary?
no.
Is it 100% volunteer?
Oh, all volunteer. So,
Yeah.
as a hall manager, I'm supposed to receive $250 a month to do the upkeeping of renting out the building, and then a 20% stipend or 20% incentive to rent out the place. I haven't taken that in over 2 years. I mean, I think I took it
Just
for.
can't afford to.
No, we can't afford to,
Right.
and that's not what I'm doing it for.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to just leave the money there. But the whole goal, I created this. They tried it when I first took it over. It was $250 for the hall manager before me. So that didn't change. The only thing that changed was a 20% incentive for rentals. Like if you created a rental, and that was created to where if anybody put out a rental, one of the veterans put out a rental, they would get 20% of that.
Yeah. Given an incentive to
Do it. Yeah, and the whole goal to raise us up because they wanted to give me a raise over the $250 a month. I was like, well, we can't afford that. But the whole goal is to build it up to where we can pay someone, we can pay a veteran to manage that facility. Mm-hmm. That way, it doesn't ever go back into the shambles that that was in when I found it. It needs to be functional, and we need to treat it as a business because it is a business. Mm-hmm. It's a not-for-profit business, but there's still bills, there's still insurance, there's still many things that have to be purchased and taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about the canteen because I know that was a debacle.
Still is.
Yeah, still is, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm tracking is that the canteen was for members only and
Members and guests.
members and guests.
Yes,
but
it's still that way.
and it's still that way,
Yes.
regardless of like whatever. Because I attended that meeting where all the neighbors came in and they all voiced their opinion, saying oh, loud noises, this, that, and the other, and
So
you were just like, nothing's going to change.
No,
Like,
so you
it's
can rent
not-
my building, get a liquor license, throw a party in there, and I'll be blamed for it.
Right.
Yeah. So you as a non-member can come in, rent the building out, have a wedding or throw a party, live music, get a liquor license from ABC, do the permit, whole process, be legit. Everything's copacetic. Have people drinking there, and the neighbors will see that, and that is my problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the neighbors.
To the neighbors, yeah. And
So the canteen now where are you trying to get it to where the public can just come in, or is it still has to be
members
a
and
member
guests.
with a guest?
Members and guests, absolutely, yeah.
And so how is that going to raise money? Because if it were open to the public, let's say, it would be way more successful, and you would actually get,
So
a
you're a
revenue of
member,
income.
and you got some friends coming to town, and you want to take them to a nice place, and not have to worry about any shenanigans happening. You as a member can take your guest into our facility, sign them in our guest book, and hang out there.
How many guests?
Why put a number on something?
Right.
Why the only time we have to put limits on things is when someone fucks it up for us.
Yeah. Or you hit maximum capacity.
Yeah, we had our building's too packed, and you obviously can't bring your guest in.
Yeah.
But if you're responsible as an adult that you are for all your guests, why should they not be able to come in? Why should you not be able to show them off your private facility and take their money to help support your goals and funds for the community? So it's not going to be open to the public,
Right.
But if you know if you know a member or you
anybody.
want to become a member, there you go.
And so so you think there's a little bit of gray area to be played there?
There's always gray area to play. It's America. Man wrote the laws.
Yeah.
They can be interpreted any way they want, right? But you sign my guest book. That's the regulations that you need. As long as you're not a douchebag, why should we kick you out?
Yeah. And so can you compete with other bars on their prices for liquor?
I'm cheaper than every bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be. I can't put them out of business.
Right.
And that's why it's members and guests, right? That's why I can't just open the door. You can't just come in as a non-member and expect to be a guest. You got to be brought in by a member, But does it mean that's that catch-22, right? Because we are as veterans are supposed to be hospitable. We have to treat everybody with some respect. So if someone comes in, do we kick them out right away, or do we try to embrace them and break bread? Because that's what I did. We broke bread.
So let's say you're a normal civilian in Arcata, don't have any relations, none of your parents or no one was military, right? You're just a fresh cherry, and you want to support the American Legion. Can you become an affiliate or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Arcata Veterans Group, we created that for those members because we do have, Congress writes who can be a part of the American Legion. That's all dictated by Congress. We just passed the American Legion Act, so now we've opened up to all veterans back to 1941. Regardless, yeah. So there
what
was
was it before? Like you had to be serving during wartime?
During time of congressional declared war. So we go back to the 60s and 70s again. Those veterans weren't even acknowledged for 4 years after the conflict was over with by both organizations. Both organizations said, "Well, no, you don't rate this," and it wasn't the organization that said you didn't write this. This was Congress saying you didn't write this. But we took the backlash for that. So same thing. Someone throws a party at our hall, they ran it out. I take the backlash.
Yeah, same.
Same thing goes on there when Congress dictates our membership requirability because we are chartered by Congress. We are a congressionally chartered nonprofit. So they dictate that, and we get the backlash from it. So the Vietnam era, it took a while for those dates to pick up. But the last one I go off the top of my head is 1984 to 88. 85 to 88.
What was happening during then? It was like pre-Desert Storm.
Pre-Desert Storm, Grenada, nothing though.
Right, yeah, just peacetime.
But it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
But during our rules and regulations,
yeah,
Yes, it was peacetime, but we had plenty of veterans.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yeah, they were Lebanon, right? That was the fall of the barracks, the Marine Corps barracks, one of the most devastating casualties in the United States Marine Corps history for sleeping quarters, non-combat, because they were all just sleeping.
Right.
And I mean, I should as a Marine know the numbers, but I mean, it was hundreds of the Marines that died that day. So there was things going on.
Yeah.
And then
So now the laws are slowly enabling. Well, now it's everybody.
no, it's 1941.
Anybody
yeah.
that's pretty
That's
much
still
alive.
Everybody's still alive. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and then so for that non-member, they can become a guest or become an affiliate.
So the Sons of the
Can you
American
get on a
Legion.
list?
The Sons of the American Legion
Sons?
is sons
Okay.
of a father or grandfather, and then now the American Legion Auxiliary. They just passed that. It's spouses, so male or female, or spouse, or just a spouse.
Right, right.
Someone that's married to a veteran, to a military member. They can do that process. So there's still, a little gray area, and a lot of people don't think this area exists, and they say, "Well, everybody's related to a veteran." No, they're not.
No.
No,
Yeah,
no.
1%.
Yeah, yes. There was a time everybody was related to a veteran, but now it's 1%. So those numbers have dwindled. So we created the Arcata Veterans Group, and then the other reason the Arcata Veterans Group is to get the 501c3 status. Because the American Legion, the VFW is a 501c19, which is a veterans organization. But the tax write-offs aren't the same as a nonprofit. We can't get the same insurance as a nonprofit. So it's actually worse. Like it's a lot worse.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Go into that. Like that's still confusing. I'm still trying to understand how that's a process. So the Arcata Veterans Group with the 501c3 that we're establishing, you can donate to me and it's 100% write-off. But as the American Legion, I think it's like 30 or 40% write-off. So it's not the full 100%. But the same thing with the 501c3, the Arcata Veterans Group, I can go get a nonprofit insurance. They'll cover me. It'll save me about $1,500 a year. But as the American Legion, the 501c19, no, they won't give me the nonprofit insurance. I had to get special catering permits and stuff, insurance. And it cost me quite a bit a year to do that. So it's weird.
Yeah.
So someone's not talking to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, miscommunication there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. So that kind of puts it in a rough spot. So you didn't volunteer to run. I mean, you did volunteer to run this organization, but like this wasn't your baby growing up. You know what I mean?
No.
Like it wasn't your dream.
No.
But now you're just like, well, this is bullshit. Like people need support.
Yes.
And you're gonna step up and do the job.
So I found this. So what got me here? So I've been an American Legion member for 10 years. 2009, during my time as a reservist.
Were you living up here?
No, I was down south. I was
Okay.
down in LA. I was at the time stationed at Seal Beach,
How big was that
California.
one down there?
So it's 700, but now that's just one post in LA, and there's
But there's like millions of people down
oh
there.
my God, their numbers are huge. LA has 2 areas in it, so we're area 1. Like I said, it's Sacramento from the coast to Nevada up with 7 districts, and then District 1 is what we are, Humboldt County down north in Mendocino. LA has 2 areas, so part of LA is one area, and the other part is another area, and they've got one has 6 districts and one has like 5 districts. So they're huge.
Right.
Humboldt County Council, they have, so there's only 3 county councils left: Ventura, LA, and Humboldt. So we're one of the 3 left, but LA is the biggest. Excuse me. So it's huge,
Yeah.
right? So that post is like 500-700 members. You can drive 20 minutes and go to another post with 1,000 members. You can drive 10 minutes another direction with a post of 500 members. And this is in Azusa, California, post 180. Azusa, Glendora had 2 posts in it. They're right next to each other. And then post 755 was the other post I was at, 15 minutes apart from each other, with over 500 members each. And they both had auxiliaries. And then they both have sons. Huge numbers.
Yeah.
So I got into this. So being part of the American Legion, I was going to Humboldt State University. It was during the election process of Trump and Clinton, and I was watching, sitting in a classroom, and one of the educators, very opinionated lady, and very obviously Hillary supporter, which is fine. That's great.
Yeah.
But last time I checked, when you're supposed to be an educator, you're supposed to be free thought. You
Yeah.
know, you keep your opinions to yourself, unbiased approach, and let your students, stick to the curriculum, stick to the task at hand, and don't put your political opinions in. So I was sitting in the classroom, and this kid answered a question that she asked, and she said, "You're absolutely wrong." And I was just dazing off in the forest. I was like, "Absolutely wrong." I'm like, "That's pretty strong." Wow. Granted, this kid was wearing a mega hat, the Make America Great hat, the red hat.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he was doing it because she was a Hillary supporter and he was just trying to antagonize her. 18 or 19-year-old kid, sure, not a problem.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, no mind. I'm like, absolutely wrong though. Like that's huge. Wow. Like she's certain that he was wrong. And about 10 minutes go by, and she goes, all right, well, no one else wants to answer it. And so she gives the answer. And almost verbatim, she says exactly what he said. I stood up and said, "Excuse me. If I remember correctly, you said he was absolutely wrong for that answer you just said. And now you're saying just about verbatim the same thing." That turned into a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was here at HSU.
yeah, it was HSU. And I was like, well, this is ridiculous. So I kindly removed myself from the classroom. And I went to the dean, and the dean's like, "Well, you should go talk to, Kim over at the SVA." And I was like, "What do I need to talk to her for?" I'm like, "I'm a student." "Well, you're a veteran, and she helps veterans." I was like, "No, I'm a student. I'm coming to you. I'm using my chain of command. I'm coming to you about this approach, about how this educator just did what she did, and it shouldn't be okay." And so he sends me on his way. He's not going to help me. He keeps trying to get me to go see Kim. And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Yeah, what's she going to do for me? She's going to comfort me and make me feel good that I just witnessed this happen." So I was like, okay, whatever. I go up to the university president. They push me away so fast, it's not even funny. That dean sends me an email. He goes, "Jeff, all the circumstances, I understand what the sacrifice is. My father served in Korea." And I'm like, I don't know how it has anything to do with the fact that your educator is clearly pushing Hillary Clinton for the campaign.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're all in on it.
yeah, they are. They all are in on it. So I had enough, and Sophia, she's like, "You need to go find something to do." My partner. So I was like, yeah, of course I do. Like, I need to find something. So I went to the Redwood Veterans Center, try to go help. So there's supposed to be help for us as veterans. The VA, our numbers of veterans doing what they're doing is it's huge.
Yeah.
A lot has to do with our VA system and how we get treated. I'm a 100% service-connected veteran. I was injured in the military, but when I walk up, I'm not missing any limbs. I'm not missing anything, so I don't get treated as such, yeah. Right? So they just assume that I'm in there to waste their time and not with a legitimate problem. But anyways, I was like, okay, well, I heard there's a Redwood Veterans Center in town. I'll go check it out. Like, I told her, I was like, I'll go check it out and see if maybe I can get in some kind of group with veterans, and that might help me. I'll be able to laugh this off. We can say some
more
shit.
therapeutic when you get around your own kind.
Absolutely.
You vent.
Yeah. We can vent. We can.
Because there's nothing you can do about the HSU professors.
Oh, there is, though.
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
But it takes numbers to fix those things.
But I mean, across the board, like most universities are have pretty liberal professors.
Absolutely.
The right wing ones, they kind of get ostracized. And they don't really fall into like typical liberal arts.
But a university is not supposed to be a left or right. It's supposed to be down the middle, essentialist, right? Mm-hmm. They're not supposed to give their opinions. They're supposed to teach the curriculum. Mm-hmm. And unless you're taking a political science class, even then, though, that political science teacher shouldn't be pushing their agenda. Yeah, not at all. And that's where our education system went down to. That's where we're failing as our education system. That's a whole nother topic in itself.
So you went to the Redwood thing?
So I went to the
Redwood, your own kind?
The Redwood Venture Center, to find my own kind. And I met a counselor, a really nice guy. He was a veteran and some similar experiences. But the problem was, he goes, well, in 2 weeks, you and I can have a one-on-one sit down, and then 2 weeks after that, we'll put you in group counseling. I was like, that's a month.
Right.
Like I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Like now
Yeah,
is
you're
the
getting
time. And that's all you can do. The best time was 2 weeks closest, so him and I could have a one-on-one, and then month time
This
from
is
that.
the Redwoods Vet
Redwood
Center.
Veteran Center, which is it's a good program. It does help, and but it doesn't get us when we're at our moment. It's just not going to stop it, and that's the problem. Right? We shouldn't be getting to these moments. Our veterans shouldn't be having these triggers or these feeling of hopelessness after they spent however many years in the military or how many deployments. They should feel comfort when they come home.
Mm-hmm.
This should be the safe space, right? That joke that we're in 2019 of safe space. Well, yeah, the veterans need a safe space.
Right.
They need a place to not be judged, and reassociate themselves back into the community.
So you went there looking for your own kind, but it's a place for therapy.
Place for therapy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which the group sessions too, so it's your own kind. But it was months out. It was a long ways away, and it wasn't fast enough. So I left, and I got a phone call from James Lamping from the university telling me about the American Legion. I was like, fully aware of it. I'm a member already, but I don't want to go to Eureka. Like, I can't. Eureka, that's its own.
They just got done redoing that building.
They did. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just
Have you
$8.6
seen the
million.
inside yet?
I have. Mm-hmm.
Really? Is
Yeah.
it good? Nice.
Yeah,
Adequate?
it's adequate. Absolutely. Yeah. They took a lot of history away.
Oh.
Yeah, they took a
Okay.
lot of history away.
Yeah, I've never even been in there at all. I just saw the outside and I was like, okay, cool. Well,
It's
not
beautiful.
dilapidated.
It looks like a
anymore.
mosque, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah, I was like,
A little bit like a mosque. Yeah. But hey, who am I to judge?
okay, but you didn't want to go there?
So no, I don't want to go to Eureka.
Yeah.
Eureka's a beautiful city, or it was, or it can be, but currently no, it's
So
not.
I find it funny that everyone, has that stigma like, don't come to Arcata, you're not going to be welcome here. But you landed in Arcata and you didn't want to leave.
Yeah. I actually,
So
I landed in
where did you-
Arcata.
what did you see that nobody else sees, or that few do?
I think everybody sees it. I mean, Arcata, this is perfect. This is a
Yeah.
perfect place.
I mean, I'm here for a reason too.
Yeah, the university sometimes are setback, but with helping the university as veterans coming in there and supporting them, like the new president of the university, he's a veteran, and coming together, helping them out. Like I believe Arcata could be the utopia that it wants to be.
Yeah.
And that's one thing they've always been striving for.
Yeah.
But the problem is they have a hard time talking to people that don't make sense to them. And they'll judge other people for that too. And this is the most diverse culture.
Yeah.
Look at the people walking around.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep distracting you. Go back to your point about.
So I left and I was driving to the flats, and James called me and he was telling me about the American Legion. I said, I'm already a member. He goes, well, they're having an open house. I said, well, I don't go to Eureka. Like I just don't want to go to Eureka. He goes, no, it's in Arcata. I was like, no way. Where? I've looked. There was no.
Not on Google Maps.
Not on Google Maps.
Yeah.
No. And the city erased us. We weren't in the city's records or anything either.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we were. You typed in Veterans Hall.
And it was nothing.
It was nothing. You typed in the American Legion. Nothing.
Did it have it labeled as like a historical building or like anything?
Not for a while. No.
Wow.
There's some records said the Arcata Veterans Hall, and others just said nothing.
Yeah.
They talked more about the park.
Yeah.
On there and overlapped it in a sense. So.
The park that they built behind it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that park was it used to be a basketball court. That road used to go through on 15th. They 14th used to go through too, and they barricaded that off. Excuse me. And then 15th used to go through too, and then they built that park. And then in the 80s, they built the houses next to our hall. So 1930 for 50 years,
It was chilling.
we had no neighbors. No neighbors. And then in the 80s, late 80s, they built those houses. And that's when things got a lot worse for us. We used to rent our building out 7 days a week. The canteen was open, functioning. They're genuine. All the veterans are here. And then
Yeah.
the neighbors came in, complained. We went down to Fridays and Saturdays. They built the community center. Arcata built, I think, the D Street Community Center. I don't know. I think that year was 70s, 80s. I don't quote me on that. Somewhere around there that was built. But then they built the other one by Health Sports in the early 2000s. So that pretty much diminished,
Drained everything.
yeah, because then also the neighbors that just built their house complaining about us doing venues. So we said, okay, we won't do it 7 days a week anymore. We'll go to Fridays and Saturdays. And then it was only a matter of time before we had cut it off at midnight. So that killed us right there. So anyways, James tells me about the American Legion is in Arcata. So, all right, give me the address. I'll be right there. Sent me the address. I was, Fran's Bakery is, so halfway to Arcata. I was like, oh man, that's right down the street from the college. Like, no brainer. So I got off and pulled off, walk in the building. I mean, from the front, it looks like a one-story building, but you can see this downhill. So there's obviously a second level. So I walk in. It's just a grand entry. I mean, it smells like it's been closed down for years. The walls it's pretty gross. It's no one's cleaned it for some time. You can tell whoever's in charge of it's not doing their job. And I was like, okay. And I'm walking down the stairs, and I meet John Groby. John Groby was graduating class of SEAL Team 117 was his graduating class. So he was a frogman. Sprite, the word I'm using. Spry gentleman. Like,
Spry young man.
Yeah, spry young man is what he was. Holy crap. Yeah. And he was telling me, they're doing an open house for the American Legion VFW. I said, sir, I'm already a member of both organizations. He goes, oh, you see his light go up. And I was like, I want to look at the building. So he opened the doors for me. He opened the office for me. He opened the meeting room for me. And he took me downstairs to where the canteen was. Saw the pool table, saw the poker table. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I was like, what are we doing here? He goes, well, we can't find anybody young enough to take this over, and we're doing the open house. I said, when's the next meeting? He goes, the VFW meeting's tomorrow. I said, I'll be there. Showed up, got voted in, saw the troubles the VFW was having at that time. And I said, okay, I'm easy. We'll worry about that later. Found out they had the House committee, went to the House committee, found out they were paying some civilian $250 to take care of the building, which he wasn't taking. You could rent the building for $250 for 3 days. It's crazy. 9,958 square foot building.
Yeah.
For $250. Like,
that's the best Airbnb you'll ever find.
Right. So I just learned, and I went to the House committee, and at the time, the Veterans for Peace was making their move in. The American Legion, the commander at the time was kind of help pushing for that. The council was asking, Humboldt County Board of Supervisors were saying, well, we should let the Veterans for Peace in. And I just started doing my research and opening anything up. And I was like, nope, that's not happening. And then I sat down and thought to myself, what's the best approach for veterans right now? What's the best thing I can do to help other people? I was already going to leave this country a few years ago before I went to Humboldt State University. So I decided that after 178 units, I had a semester and a half left. I walked away from the college, and I went full-time volunteering at the hall to bring it back to life. Many days just throwing out trash. We got the canteen open, and then we painted the foyer. Interns coming from Humboldt State University. So now when you walk in, you can see local history of military personnel from Arcata, Humboldt County, and it doesn't feel like a closed building. Mm. So that's how I got there.
So you had a sense of direction. It just gave you more pride to be able to step forward and help there rather than continue. It
wasn't a pride thing or a sense of direction. Maybe the sense of direction, like it's something that needed to be done. The university was doing this, the community was doing this, so someone needed to step up and ask the hard questions that no one wanted to ask, and someone needed to put front veterans. Yeah. Because if we put front the veterans and the veterans start caring, well, watch how fast this community will clean up. Because we truly care.
Yeah.
I don't want, I don't want to sound, I'm going to say, I was just going to say it. I truly believe someone that signed up, volunteered to go to war. I mean, we've been 18 years now, right? 18 years. I'm in the beginning, 2002. We signed up 18 years ago, and then still now that we should not hold ourselves a little bit more accountable than everybody else, because we care that much more.
Right.
Because we are willing to sacrifice our life. Everybody, that's one thing the community thinks. A lot of people, not just this community, a lot of people, civilians, are trying to get away from these labels.
Right.
Labels are what's separating us.
People that understand, people that don't understand. Whatever group you fall in, if you don't understand, being a veteran it's a toll.
It is.
It's a huge toll, and you mature a lot, fuck ton faster.
But not only a toll, but it takes a certain individual that's willing to take that toll. Not maybe not knowing what they're going into,
Right.
But it takes that. It takes a certain individual, and that's what the community, or, the non-understanding, they don't understand is someone that was willing to join the military and go wherever they send us. We don't get to pick and choose. Like you get a wish list. My wish list: West Coast, East Coast, or overseas. I chose overseas. Why would I? I'm here. Why would I want West Coast or East Coast? And without the understanding and acknowledgement, that's our PAC system, right? There's the first MARDIV, second MARDIV, third MARDIV for the Marine Corps. So you choose that, and then you get to your unit, and then it really comes up to your your chain of command, and if they want to keep you, or if they want to send you somewhere else, they want you to go to special training or deploy. Like nowhere along the line do we get to make those options. Now, yes, we get to ask, we get to make requests, we get to put packets in, but it's not our decision to make.
Yeah.
It's someone else's decision to make.
Yeah, you get the heart of the volunteer.
Yep, the heart of volunteer, and that's where the non-understanders don't realize that we didn't pick our decision where we're going. Yeah, we got the orders, and we did what we needed to do.
Yeah, and I think veterans overall, what we all have in common, or at least what I've seen with the veterans that I've met outside of the military, is that they do have like a sense of community that is larger than just Arcata or just Humboldt.
Absolutely.
It's America and our values and our morals that we bring together, and we all agree on that. It's like we're all here. You can say whatever you want, and you have the freedom to do so. And people that, I want to say the non-understanders, right? The people that don't understand, they don't understand that concept. They think that you can't say bad things. You can't say, what your opinion is on this, if it's offensive, like all that kind of bullshit. It's no, you can say it.
Yeah, you can.
And you can disagree with it.
The only person that can take offense is you yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So off topic, but I was curious about the Veterans for Freedom or Veterans for Peace thing. Yeah. I see them and I'm like, I agree with it. Like
oh yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
Peace sounds awesome, but I don't understand, what's their deal?
Maybe there's, in our 1% of the military, maybe there's 1% of a veteran that wants war, right? There's a veteran that wants do all the destruction, mayhem, and killing.
And mind you, I've met people like that, veterans that are like that,
yeah.
and they've never been shot. And
exactly.
I was like, well, wait till you get fucking shot. You're not going to like war then. They're like, no, I love war. No, you don't.
So right, we all have bad apples.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. And so that's their understanding, they want peace. Well, that's my question to them. I was like, what veteran doesn't want peace?
Right.
I want peace.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you guys can't have conversations with each other.
Yeah. Nobody wants to die for their country.
No.
They're willing to, but they don't want to.
No. They want to live. We all want to live until we're old. We want to see it.
And so you said that they were trying to get into the...
They wanted a free meeting space, yeah.
A free meeting space. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to come in and have their meetings there. Which I had no problem. You want to rent the space out. That's what it's for. It's available for renting. But there's criteria. They had to get insurance, and I don't want to get too far on this because we'll see how this podcast goes out. But it's just going to cause more problems for me in the future.
Okay.
By even bringing it up. But,
okay. So they're not a group that.
They're not a veterans group. No, there's veterans in them. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's just a protesting group.
Well, it's a 501c3 educational group.
And what does that mean? A nonprofit educational?
It's a nonprofit educational group, absolutely.
Okay.
So they're giving out education.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the best,
Sure.
best way I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me now.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're trying to help veterans. They're out there just saying, "Hey, we don't."
No,
want
I
war.
don't think that's the case. I think they are trying to help veterans, and I think I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, that some of them are part of that suicide hotline.
Oh, okay.
That you call, that we have those numbers. But from my understanding, from the outside looking in, they're just more a radical group pushing for the de-arming of the nuclear weapons throughout the world, which is great, right? But nuclear power, we can't just push that away. We can't.
Yeah.
We let the atoms out,
Right. Yeah.
so we
Yeah,
can't
we have
just.
nuclear plants here in the U.S.
Yeah, so maybe we should restructure this and go to the drawing tables,
Yeah.
all right, and figure these things out.
That's potentially a pool of veterans that you can pull in, right? Like, are some of those veterans that are in that group, are they part of us?
Some of them,
Or part
yeah,
of the auxiliary,
some of
I mean?
them are, but no, and they are the ones that are veterans. They're dual members, or
Okay.
they're members, but they're not dual members because we can't acknowledge that. So when you take the enlistment as one of the officers, the commander, first vice, second vice, judge advocate, adjutant, sergeant in arms, chaplain, you swear another oath, right, that you do not support any organization.
Any other nonprofit?
No, just anything that goes against our Constitution.
And that does.
Sometimes yeah.
I'm getting it out of you, man.
Yeah, no.
How much you don't want to talk about it? I want to know.
Yeah, just go ahead and Google them and take a look at and read their mission statement. It's not for me to.
Yeah. I browsed at their brochures as I
Yeah.
walked by. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But they weren't. They were originally, I believe, they were called the Americans for Peace back in the '60s.
Oh, so they have a long-standing.
The Veterans for Peace came around. Their name changes. I think it was in like 73, 74, somewhere in the 70s. They changed their name to the Veterans for Peace. But before that, it was the 60s. It started.
Right.
Once again, I told you, if you look
Yeah.
at history, and what I'm trying to pinpoint to is around the Vietnam era, the 60s and 70s.
You think America divided?
I think America changed.
It changed.
Division came in about. Yeah, absolutely. Division happened, and we lost some.
And really, we're only, third, maybe fourth generation after that. So it's not very much time that we are
I'm
having
second.
to
I'm second generation, so my father is Vietnam era veteran.
even second generation.
Yeah.
So that's not a lot of time to correct mistakes that have been made.
No, and I think, but it's a long time it's enough time to continue to make more mistakes, and get to where we're at right now. Yeah, I mean,
And do you think the leadership that's currently in place at the state level, do you think they have?
What state level? What leadership? The American Legion leadership for the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the state of California leadership is pretty bad. As a younger veteran, I think we've been making mistakes. I think.
You think that's just because of a lapse of judgment? Like they're just kind of not.
I think the Vietnam veterans have been waiting for their turns, and now they feel like it's their turn.
And right, like you said earlier, they just perpetual.
Yeah.
I see.
We don't learn from our mistakes. Creatures,
Right.
creatures of nature.
Creatures, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Well, we're at an hour right now.
Oh man. Well, it's warm in here, so.
Yeah, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
All right.
We wrap everything out of
Yeah, let's plug the Legion one more time right here at the end.
What are the plugs when you plug in there?
I mean,
plug them all.
Yeah.
What is this? Humboldt
and Humboldt. Yes.
Yeah.
Where we talk to local Humboldt community leaders, entrepreneurs, pretty much anybody that has any kind of life. You come in here, talk
So
to me.
50% of the community.
Yeah. Come in, give your spiel, talk shit about HSU professors. I'm just kidding. But Jeff Sterling, commander of Post 274 here in Arcata. If you're a veteran and you're not a member, sign the fuck up and be a member.
Help us with those numbers.
Yeah.
The
come
Forever
support.
GI Bill now.
Yeah. Do you have a number or any way best to contact you?
The,
Facebook page?
the Arcata Veterans Hall Facebook. We're going to slowly put the American Legion name on there. That we've been here long enough to rebrand ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put that out there. But the Arcata Veterans Hall. We're on Instagram. The American Legion Arcata Post 274. Arcata Veterans Hall. And then the hall number is 707-822-1552. And then email is arcadaveteranshall@gmail.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good.
Indubitably. Or just go on sealegion.org.
Yeah.
And just research with the American Legion. If you're a skeptic, I mean, the programs we have, they're huge. Like, before we close it up, Boys State's huge. Look it up. Amazing program, and it's an opportunity for our kids, our junior high school kids going into their senior year. And we have Girls State now since we have the auxiliary. But Tyler, thank you for having me on the show.
Hey.
You've been dragging me this for a while, and
I got you here.
you got me here in this oven.
We can do part 2 later on.
Part 2 later on.
All right.
All right. Thank you.